provided billions of dollars in so-called microloans for the most needy. The following allegations first aired in a Norwegian TV documentary that he was involved in tax dodges. The Central Bank of Bangladesh wants Yunus sacked. He was cleared by a subsequent Norwegian inquiry, and he continues to deny accusations. But despite that, the Bangladeshi government has launched its own inquiry. And it's not just about money. The central bank claims his age is another factor. He's 70, that's 10 years over the legal age for a managing director of a commercial bank. It adds that Yunus should have sought its approval before he was reappointed to his position at Grameen. And even the Prime Minister has joined his opponents. Sheikh Hasina has accused the Nobel laureate of treating his bank as, quote, his personal property, claiming his group was sucking the blood from the poor. All this has come as a shock to many of his supporters. They claim he's being targeted because of an attempt to set up a political party when a military-backed caretaker government was in power. But as the legal battles go on, Yunus is staying at the bank that's changed the lives of millions and made him famous around the world.
Now, finally this week, the saying goes that the sequel is never as good as the first, but that didn't stop Apple relaunching its iPad tablet computer only a year after creating it. In the end, it wasn't anything major. Version 2 is thinner, it's twice as fast as its predecessor and has 2 inbuilt cameras. All expected changes and nothing terribly earth-shattering. The big news was the man who presented it to Apple's legion of fans in San Francisco and beyond. Tarek Basley has the story.
A surprise return and a standing ovation.
We've been working on this product for a while and I just didn't want to miss today. So. Thank you.
Unsubstantiated tabloid reports said Steve Jobs, the founder and inspiration behind Apple, had 6 weeks to live. In the last decade, the 56-year-old has survived pancreatic cancer and undergone a liver transplant. Jobs announced in January that he would take a 3rd leave of absence to focus on his health. His appearance almost overshadowed the launch of the new iPad 2. It's thinner than the last tablet and has front and rear cameras allowing video conferencing and a faster processor. But Apple can't stand still. The market it created has many competitors, mostly using Google's Honeycomb Android software. The tablet market is expected to sell more than 50 million units this year and 200 million by 2015. Apple sold almost 15 million iPads in the 9 months to 2010, almost 3 times what many analysts had expected. It could sell 30 million units this year, making it $20 billion in sales. And perhaps in a sign of things to come, Apple's smartphone market share is slowly shrinking. According to Nielsen statistics for the last quarter, Google's Android operating system accounted for 28.7% of smartphone sales in the US, surpassing Apple's market share with a jump of more than 7% from the previous quarter. Both are behind BlackBerry. Critically, while Apple's operating system only works on an iPhone, Android can be used on several different handsets and devices.
Google's brilliance here is that they win if there are more people on the internet. That's it. It's as simple as that. Everything they do is through that prism. So what they've done is to create a very viable operating system, the thing that runs the hardware, for both smartphones and now with Honeycomb, the latest version of Android, with an operating system that runs tablets.
Another uncertain factor in the Apple equation is Steve Jobs himself. Despite some shareholder nerves over the company's future success without Jobs, many analysts believe there are others to carry on his work from the top down.
They seem to be very much bought into the message of Apple, the culture of Apple, they know what Apple's trying to accomplish in the grander scheme of things. So I think that they've done such a good job at permeating this culture into the people that it hires that they know where to go next. They know what the vision is. They're bought in.
Apple is still considered the gadget leader, but its competitors are slowly starting to muscle their way into one of the world's most lucrative industries.
And that is just about it for this week. Do check us out online though. Start at aljazeera.net/English. Click the business tab at the top and follow the links to the Counting the Cost page for blogs and episodes in full. And then when you want to get in touch, get tweeting. At KamalAJE is where you'll find me on Twitter. Please send in your thoughts or questions you've got about the show, or just say hello if you like. But that is it for this edition of Counting the Cost. I'm Kamal Santa Maria from the whole team. Thanks for joining us. The news on Al Jazeera is next.
Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter. Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter.
He's taken stolen goods and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news,
if the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
to those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines
most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
is the inside story. At this time on Al Jazeera.
The relocation of the Ahmadiyya has magnified the issue of religious intolerance in Indonesia. Is this inevitable in a multicultural society? And is the government turning a blind eye?
101 East at this time on Al Jazeera.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. At this time on Al Jazeera.
Now there's one place to discover the whole story. AlJazeera.net/English.
We bring you the story from every side and every angle. AlJazeera.net/English.
An explosion at an arms dump in Libya's second city of Benghazi has killed 12 people. I'm Arund Naidu. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. Also on the program, celebrations in Ras Lanuf as anti-government supporters say they've taken over the town. 2 U.S. transport planes land in Tunisia carrying much-needed aid supplies to refugees from Libya. And protests around the region. In Yemen, huge rallies as the president rejects plans to transfer power.